Thank you for coming tonight, and it's a great pleasure to be here again. And the public speech tonight is selfish, or this evening is selfish and zero-sum game. As human beings, we have a natural impulse to work for a better life for our kids, our daughters and sons. And as a Spiritist, we believe that in reincarnation, and we believe that we are coming back probably at this planet in some future. And for those two reasons, we should work, and we naturally work to make a better world. We do that naturally, we work for that every day. So to make a better world for our kids and for ourselves when we come back in the future. But to make a better world, we have to understand what is working and what's not working. And tonight I want to talk about something that's definitely not working, which is the selfishness in this world. There is a lot of it. And to start, I'm going to start with some definitions. And we are going to talk about what Spiritism thinks about selfishness, what they teach about selfishness. And I can tell you it's not a very good view that we have on selfishness. Selfishness is very unpopular in Spiritism. And there is a whole section of it in the Spiritist book. It starts on the question 913 and go. If you guys are curious to read that later, you can do that. And I got two questions that I thought was more important. One is 913. What's the fundamental cause of the faults found in human nature? And just for you that don't know, the Spirit's book has a lots of questions, over 1,000 questions that Allan Kardec made, and then the answers are from the spirits, the higher spirits, the superior spirits. So on 913, Allan Kardec asks, what's the fundamental cause of the faults found in human nature? And the answer from the spirits is, if you study all your faults, you'll find that their common foundation is selfishness. Ridding yourself of all the other flaws requires that you attack selfishness at its root. So it's basically saying that everything, all your problems, like jealousy or envy or anger or whatever you have, at the root of it, there is selfishness. And if you want to attack any problem, any flaws we have, that's where we should target our efforts. Can you please go to the next one? So there is in the question 917. By what means can selfishness be destroyed? That's the question. I didn't get this part of it's a huge answer. I just got those parts here that I want to show you guys. Of all human imperfections, the most difficult to root out is selfishness, because it's connected with the influence of matter. The underscore is mine. Okay. From which man, still too near his origin, has not been able to enfranchise himself, and which his laws, his social organization, his education all tend to maintain. It is an evil of which we are all victims. So the underscore are mine. First, we have three nice lessons here. That selfishness is connected with the matter. We had a public talk from Fernanda a month ago about materialism. So this comes, it's a good time to have this one as well. It's connected to that one. So the influence of matter and the selfishness, they come together, and they create by extension all the other problems that we have, all the other flaws. The selfishness creates envy and jealousy and all the others. Second teaching we have, it is impregnated, selfishness is impregnating our laws, our social organization, our education. So it's impregnating our institutions, our government, everything. We have selfishness impregnated on it. And we're going to see more about that later. And the third lesson is that we are all victims. We all have selfishness. So So some of us have more, some of us have less, but we all have it. Jesus Christ did not have it, some very superior spirits that came to Earth, they did not have it, but we all have it. Normal human beings, right? We all have it. The other definition I'm going to talk about is the zero-sum game. Can you please get the next? Zero-sum game is, there is a definition from Wikipedia, it's a tough one. I'm going to explain with my own words. It's on game theory and economic theory. It's a zero-sum game. It means if I make some profit, it's because someone make a loss. So if Marcelo wins $1, it's because someone lost $1. And then we sum profit $1, loss $1. That's zero. That's why it's called zero-sum game. So for me to make some profit, someone has to lose it. Can you please go to the next one? And that's showing in game theory and in economic theory. So I'm going to show one of each. In game theory, that's an easy one to understand, right? We have a poker table, and the guys are playing. At the end of the night, everybody goes home, and then they say that who won, who lost. We say that Sam wins $60, Joe wins $30, and Andy loses $90. So we sum profit 60 from Sam, the $30 profit from Joe, the $90 from Andy, loss, it's equals to zero, right? So Andy actually lost to Joe and Sam. That's why we say it's zero-sum game. And is clear? Yeah? Mm-hmm. So next one, please. In trade, we have that, right? Any trade, any economical commerce stuff, if we're going to buy or sell, this also is in there. So we have this guy that is a car dealer, and he buys a car. John buys a car for $1,000 from Alan. He sells the same car for $1,100, so he made $100, right, from Brian. Brian lost $100 because he paid $1,100 for a car that was sold for $1,000, and John made a profit of $100. So sum is zero, right? That's why the zero-sum game. Oops. But the zero-sum game is like something, there's nothing wrong with that. It explains a lot of things, how material things work. If I have a candy I give to a kid, then I had it, I don't have it anymore. So I lost it, the kid won it. That's how material things work. Zero-sum game is something that's very impregnated in us. We kind of have a very good handle, everybody has a good handle with it. And the problem happens when we my connection we're going to talk tonight is that because there is a strong connection with the material world, we are all selfish. Some of us are more, some of us are less. But in our selfishness, we give too much importance to material things. And that's why the zero-sum game starts to influence our beliefs. So we kind of we have a tendency to use it in many other things that we're not supposed to use. We kind of get afraid of giving something because we're going to be without. We'll talk about that later on. Can you please get the next one? So we can use it in a bad way when we start thinking, we start to be too much materialistic, too much selfish, and we put have on the top of everything. Because if we are too selfish, then we're gonna give a lot of priority to having, and then they're gonna start to think that having is equals to keeping. If I want to have something, I want to keep whatever I have, and then I want to think sometimes I have to take also something from someone because of the zero-sum game. Because if I want to have more, I have to take it from someone. I have to get it from someone. Sometimes in a honest way, sometimes in a dishonest way or not so honest way. So that's the problem with the zero-sum game when we use it too much or using the wrong way. Let's see some examples now of extreme selfishness in our world. Could you please go to the next one? Where when the zero-sum game drives our beliefs. I came with one example of, so you guys can see that selfishness is everywhere. So I start with the individual, one example individually, and then I go down until between countries. And you can see that selfishness is everywhere, and the zero-sum game drives it. At the individual level, I was thinking like one example of individual level where selfishness happens, zero-sum game happens where there is a limited supply of something. It's like two young boys competing for the love of one young girl, right? That's one way. There will be competition because there is only one young girl, and these guys are gonna be competing, and that can be really ugly. The same way, two girls, one boy, that's gonna be also ugly, right? You can see many soap operas and comedy movies about stuff like that. It's gonna be, the competition is gonna be ugly. There will be instances where people are not very, the ethics are gonna slide a little bit, right? We can do, we're not gonna be really nice, this kind of competition. At family level, if you have like, for instance, fight for inheritance, for instance, that can be really bad, right? If there was no will or something, and people die, then I have seen brothers and sisters fighting really bad. Sometimes we have like, they never talk to each other anymore because of competition, zero-sum game. People get afraid that, okay, my brothers and sisters are gonna get more than me, and so I have to, they start the fighting, they start the competition, and all the selfishness comes, right? At work, let's say I'm looking for a promotion at work, and I know that my manager has a limited amount of money to give for promotions, which happens in many places, right, workplace. And then I start to say that the accomplishments of my colleague, they are not as good as they look like. So there's lots of flaws. His stuff doesn't work really well. There is many instances doesn't work. I'm do software, so that's my stuff. At the same time, I'm going to start saying that things that are not true. I know it's not true, but I'm going to start saying it. And then at the same time, I start to say that my things that I have done, they are really awesome. The things I did are the best, and they work very well. You know, even though sometimes I know it's not true, but I'm going to say that. So the ethics is lied again. I'm going to say stuff that I know it's not true. And I can even rationalize. I can say, okay, I have to do that because everybody else is doing it. So I just have it, right? Have to do it. We rationalize and feel better about that. We are doing, again, fighting for something that's limited, and we are using our selfishness, and the ethics is lied. And that's another example. If you go to the country level, let's talk about government or institutions. Unfortunately, there are some people in every country that they have power, economic power, political power. They are very powerful people. They have friends in government. They have influence. They buy influence, right? Maybe the government has a contract to build something, and they just go to their friends in the government. They get the contract, even though they are not the most qualified, even though their prices are not the best. But they buy the contract. They start building it. The government is gonna pay more for it, for the same service. So that's again the zero-sum game, because this person is actually taking money off the society for himself. So we, society, are losing, he is winning, right? In the illegal way. There are some instances which there's another example that this is even legal. I'm going to tell you there is one example that is legal. Like if I'm very powerful and have lots of friends, have a big company, I can many countries I can go to the lawmakers, talk to them, and ask them for a new law that makes me avoid to pay some taxes, or makes my company be more competitive, or something like that. And this is perfectly legal. Morally, you can talk. This is not very morally acceptable, but it is legal, right? Many countries. We can do that. That's not. There's nothing legally wrong with that. Again, the society is going to lose because we are going to pay less taxes or do something that's kind of shady, and I make more money, but the society loses with that. Between countries, sorry, there's a missing here. Between countries, war, right? There's war. War is competition for resources. So many wars we had. For instance, the Second World War was started because Germany invaded Poland just to take over all the natural resources of Poland, the workforce, the coal. They have a lot of coal. So this is a pure selfishness and zero-sum game. So Germany wanted that thing and took it over. So we can see it's everywhere. Selfishness is everywhere in our world. It affects us in any situation possible, from individual to countries. And then we can ask ourselves why we have these beliefs that zero-sum game in so many aspects. Why we think that for us to win something, someone has to lose. Is this inside of us that comes from the society, from the outside? This is important to know. Let's go to the next one. The Book of Spirits, they teach us what's going on, what happens. Here we have like the 4 reasons that I found. Maybe there is more. I found 4 of them. 3 in the Book of the Spirits. The last one in a book from Divaldo Franco and João de Angelis. So let's go over them. One of the reasons why we are selfish, it comes from the primitivism, inheritance from former lives. We all believe in reincarnation. We all spirits believe in reincarnation. We believe we had former lives. In the former life we had, we were not better than what we are today. Even in this life, we can say like Marcelo at 50 years old is better than Marcelo at 20 years old. Spiritually speaking, right? Not physically speaking. If you talk spiritually, yes, because there's 30 or more years, I learned some stuff, so I'm better spiritually speaking. If you go back, that's true with every one of us. And if you go back like Marcelo in, I don't know, 1500, the year 1500, the Middle Age or something, I was I was probably worse than I am today. Very likely, yes. And that's true for all of us. So if you go far enough, we're going to go to some really old times when we lived in a society that was very primitive. Maybe there was not a lot of food around. Maybe there was not a lot of water around. There was not a lot of justice. So if you go back like to the Roman times, people would throw the Christians to the lions. So it was tough times, right? We lived in some times that were really bad. And in these very old times, we kind of needed to be a little bit selfish. It was kind of, the jungle law was in effect. It's hard to say, but yeah, that's true. Like sometimes to survive, we have to be a little bit selfish. We have to take stuff from someone. We have to do that. Fortunately, we passed that. Today, our reality is different. Our society is much better. We cannot even compare what we have today. The resources are a lot better. If you have a drought today, there is no lack of water for anyone. There's no lack of food. We're good, right? We have a lot of more justice and rights and institutions that work a lot better than back then. So today, the selfishness is not very good for any of us. Actually, it's a problem. What was good back then because it helped us survive, now it's a problem. We have to get rid of it because we are not going to be happy if we don't get rid of it right now. Our next step in evolution is a different path. Now it's love. Now it's fraternity. It's not selfishness anymore. So we have to work to get rid of it. But even though we already live in better times, we have just life is completely different, and selfishness is a bummer, right? We still have it. There is some echoes of the past. It's in our brain. It's deep there. It is there, and it comes out, and we just have to fight it. If you look at sometimes you are under stress or something, especially if a guy is under stress or something, we just go back to our primitive side. We kind of go in fight mode or something. We just go, our primitive side just shows easily, right? So it is inside of us still. And if you look at your husband, for instance, on Sunday morning, he hasn't shaved since Friday. He goes up from the bed like in his PJs, the only PJs he has since honeymoon, right? That's the only one he has. And then you look at him and you see he's like grunting like a bear and saying, "I'm going to my man cave." And you can say we have this primitive side still, right? It's easy to spot it. It's still there. Another place where we see selfishness is the current society institutions, most of our nations. Guys, I'm gonna sound like I'm gonna do a political speech now. I'm sorry about that. That's not my intention. I swear to I'm talking about selfishness, zero-sum game, nothing else. But it's gonna look like a political speech, and that's not my intention. Because I'm gonna talk about the institutions, society in our world. And another thing, I'm not talking about any nation in special, any country in special. I talk about world here. I talk about society. So please do not be mad at me if you think it's about Brazil or US or anything else. It's not. Any of them. So disclaimer, right? Done. Let's go for it now. The Spiritist book, they say that at some point we want to reform all the society and institutions, because the way they are built, they stimulate and keep selfishness alive. So it's a kind of, they're saying, guys, at some point you have to do it. You want to do it because it's not going to work anymore for you. So they say our institutions, be federal, state institution, executive, legislative, judiciary, private institution, they were created by a selfish society, composed by selfish people. The laws and the law of charity, they're not there, right? And we are gonna, at some point, we're gonna feel it, and we are gonna want to change it. And they're telling, guys, you're gonna do it. And we are doing it in certain ways, but slowly, very slowly. At some point, I think we're gonna, when we go to the word of regeneration, we're gonna maybe make these changes faster. And they ask you why this is true. What they say, it is true, because we can't count in our fingers how many countries we have today that really sincerely and effectively fought poverty and hunger, and give education, free education or affordable education, health care to all their citizens, protect if someone is unemployed or has some economic distress. How many countries do that today? There are some, very few. and they are not by any accident. They are like the ones where the quality of life is the best in the world, like the ones from Denmark and those kind of countries. These are the ones that already do it. And it looks to me these guys are in the ahead, like in terms of society-wise. We are going to get there. I'm going to tell why I think that. But what we have seen instead of protecting the poor and the middle class, what we have seen is the story of the civilizations. There is always a minority that they have the economic and political power, and this small minority, because they are selfish as everyone else, they use the power they have not to protect the interests of the majority, but to protect their own interests. So they create a society that protects them, protect their possessions, their privileges. The interest of the majority is not a priority for them. That's because the zero-sum game. If they start to take care of the majority, they're going to be without, because they think this way, right? Think I'm going to give the majority what they need. I'm going to be with less stuff for me, so they don't do it. I'm not saying the minority is bad, because maybe if we were the minority, we would do the same thing, because we are also selfish, right? We should do that. It's not saying that they are bad. And if you look at the education that we have, the health, the justice, all the institutions, we can clearly see that society is not fair, that there is selfishness everywhere. You just look with these eyes, looking for, is there selfish there? You're going to find out there is. And that's what Spirit says. That's everywhere. According to the Spirit's teaching, the future, we will triumph over the selfishness. We will live according to God's laws as taught by Jesus. We have charity, fraternity, and love in our day-by-day lives. That will happen. The minority in this society, they simply will, when they are not selfish anymore, they simply will not be in peace if they don't help the majority, because they are not selfish anymore. That's going to be a big change. And this is not a possibility according to the spirits. It's a unavoidable reality. It will happen, no matter what, because of it's a natural consequence of the God's laws. It's a natural consequence of the human being evolution. You're going to get there. Sometimes when I say stuff like that, my daughter said, "Dad, you are too optimistic." But I know, I think I'm a realist. Yeah, I believe that, and reading all the books, and I can see that's true. It will happen. It depends on us how fast it's going to happen. But it's going to happen. So let's make it. We can work to make it happen faster. We just reached a point in the society that we had a lot of material progress in the last 200 years. It was incredible material progress. But the moral progress has not, it's a little bit behind. So today we have the power of exploding our world with nuclear bombs, but we still have hunger, right? Even though the United Nations says that today we produce enough food for everyone in the world. We have it. That's good news, right? But still, the food somehow is not getting to everyone that needs it. So we are like in balance. We have material is here, moral is there, and but we start to feel that the material is not going to make us happy. We already, as a society, as the human being, reach the point that we're starting to notice that, okay, only the material is not going to make us happy. We need to do something else. If I want to be happy, I have to do something different. I have to try something different. And that's the point where we are right now. That's where we are almost there on to become a world of regeneration. Number 3, selfishness of others makes selfish people. The spirits, they teach us that some people are, that they say that it's really hard not to be selfish in our society. It's hard not to be. Like even, they say, like even if someone is born and it's a very good spirit that is already selfless, it's a giving person, but he lives in the society the way it is, it's very hard for this spirit to keep this way. Because if he starts giving whatever he has to someone that needs more, at some point he's going to be without anything. And then he's going to look for help and nobody's going to help him, right? So it has to be selfish to survive. That's the way we see. So they have a hard time. Even people that is selfless by nature, they have a hard time not to be selfish here. So much such people, they decide to be selfish as well. And if those people lived in a society that was better, more Christian, they would be in better shape. They would be happier and they would be giving and they would be very well adapted to this society. There are some people that are selfless today, but it's not a lot, right? And they are really virtuous people. Because to live in this society and still be a giving person, dedicate your life to others, to help others, you really have to be really, really good. It's not for everyone. It's not easy. Like Mother Teresa, people like that, it's rare people can do that, right? They just dedicate their lives to help others. And they say, the spirits say that at some point we are going to be more Christian society, and then these guys that were kind of forced to be selfish, they are going to be selfless again. They are going to come back and start living in a society that is Christian. They're going to be well adapted again. And then the guys that are selfish, they're going to look at them and they're going to be, oh my God, these guys are so happy. What they're doing? Then they're going to be, by their example, they're going to start to crowd out and crowd to be more people. They're going to be attracted. They're going to change too. So there is we need to reach like this critical mass or something like that. And the last one, that's from Joana de Angelis, Psychological Immaturity. There is a book called The Conscious Being. Conscious Being. That makes sense, Kevin? Thanks. Conscious being, that some insecurities and conflicts from that we started when we were a child. I'll not talk about everyone, but some people, right? If we had some insecurities and conflicts when child. I just want, if you guys have any questions, you can stop something that you are not understanding. Go ahead, please. So if we have when we were kids and then we have insecurities and conflicts, then we become adults, and then we are immature psychologically. That can turn us into selfish people. What's going to happen is that we are going to get attached to people and things instead of being attached to us as a being. We are going to be trying to have things, have people. I'm going to tell you how it's have people. And instead of just trusting myself, right? That I'm a human being like myself, being in love with myself. And the zero-sum game is going to work there again, because selfishness thinks that happiness is in having, not in being. So if we have, is material. If it's material, I cannot give, or I'm going to go without. If it's material, I have to take if I want more, right? That's how it works. So selfishness says that our happiness in our property. This person is going to think, my happiness is in my property, my money, and then he gets some new stuff, and this new stuff is going to give him some moments of happiness, but that's going to fade, and then he wants more, and he wants more, and he wants something else and more money, and he never stops because he's looking the wrong way. He's looking for happiness where it's not. They give us a profile. That's what I forgot to tell. There is a profile of a person that is really selfish, and they are kind of saying how it works. So it starts with the psychological problems, and then it goes to having instead of being, and then they want more and more, and then they start to worry about keeping the possessions, and they start to get anxious and afraid of losing it, and he starts to be owned by what he thinks he owns. So things own him. It's not that he owns stuff owns him. And he may even become delusional. He's going to think that he owns other lives, other people, that as if they were material possessions as well. So he wants to control people that is around him. He wants to control because he owns, I have the money, so I have the power, I have the control. He wants more and more, and then includes people too on it. So he wants to control people's lives. But when we base our life in having, we don't know our value as a person. This is part from the book. We despise ourselves. We don't believe someone can love us because of what we are, but only for what we have. That's really sad, right? So the person that looks so successful, it's not that successful. It's really, he's suffering too, in a way, because he thinks nobody likes him, nobody's going to love me, everybody's going to love my things, because I value things. So he thinks everybody else is the same. If this person marries, he's going to marry with a prenup that's going to protect everything he has. Because if he loses it, that's going to be extremely hurtful. So the things he values are more, the things he has are more valuable than the person who's going to marry with. When this person donates something, he is going to do it with ostentation. He wants to become a known philanthropist. He wants a public ceremony. He wants a picture in the paper. He wants some retribution. He's not giving. He's not donating it. He wants something back, because that's his nature, right? He doesn't never give something. Can you go to the next one, please? So this is from the book that kind of sums it up. The one that seeks the material is empty of feelings, and because he's nothing, he's full of jewelry and bling bling. Things that are flashy but dead. He's concerned with what is not important, looks for happiness where there is none, does not even love himself because he does not value the human being. That's bad. That's sad. That's my translation, so you can say except for the bling bling. It was from Portuguese. I didn't, but that was the best translation. You guys liked it, yeah. Good.
Sam,
Yeah.
I have a question. If the person who seeks for material things,
I'm sorry, I'm not listening.
the person who is looking for the material things, and it says there that he is nothing, and if he loses everything, what would happen to?
Yeah, it would be like I don't know, like losing someone really that you love a lot. I don't know. That would be nothing left for him, right? It would be nothing left. This could be the case where people who's gonna kill himself or something. Could be, right? Everybody's gonna be different. We don't know, but it's gonna be devastating. It's gonna be really bad because everything he values is the things. He as a person has no value, and nobody else, no person has any value. That's according to the book. Right?
So do you think we can say that material things, they are like illusions that exist in our world for us to forget about trying to know ourselves and get to know ourselves better. And
No, I don't see like this. I think the material, they have their value. We don't give the proper value to it. It has some value, yes. And maybe I can talk about, that's a good point actually. Maybe at the end we'll talk about this. That's a very good one actually. I didn't think about that. I can say something about that. Like everything is a question of priorities, right, in life. The material thing is there because we need it. We have to live, we have to dress, we have to work. Work is good. Making money is good. We have to know how to manage the resource that God gave us. That's a good thing. The challenge is to how to manage it, how to see it in the proper way. We cannot value the material more than it is. It's like the guy that has a car, that he loves the car, and then he never even drives the car because he doesn't want to use another car to go to work, because he just loves it and he's always cleaning it and gives a lot of value to it, but he's not enjoying it, right? So the material things are to be used with wisdom, and we have to own it and not be owned by it. I think that's more or less the idea. Just have to be careful. We have to be careful with it. But you know the reasons why we do that. It's not like we have many reasons why we kind of act wrong, and we are not blaming here anyone. We just have to understand and try to work it to change, to be different. Solution. Can you please get the next one? So solutions for selfishness. We have in these books many ideas and things that we can do, and they're really good stuff. It's not an easy task, right? It's not. That's why we are here. We are here in this work because we are working on our flaws, and so if selfishness is the root of our flaws, I guess that's our big challenge. We have to work. Maybe we're not going to win that in one life. That's going to take longer. But we have to work every day, do a little bit every day. We're going to get there. Fenelon and Kardec, they tell us in the Spirit book that at some point we are going to, that's the first one, identify, modify, which, since our society is permeated with selfishness everywhere, all the institutions we have, so they say that at some point we are going to, okay, guys, stop. This is not working. Let's go inside of our institutions. Let's start to rid them of all the selfishness, all the bad laws that we create, all the bad institutions. We are going to work to make them better, more Christian, more fraternal, more charity. Let's take care of the weak, right? That's what Jesus said always. Take care of the poor, the weak. We're gonna make it more Christian. And then we are going to do that. That's what they say. And we can have a pretty good idea of how it's going to be if we look at the movie or the book Our Home, the Astral City that we have here. If you guys are interested, you can rent the DVD, Our Home, the Astral City. So in this book there is a person that, here you go, is showing there. So if you guys, you can borrow it, not renting. It's not a zero-sum game, it's a win-win situation. Good, you can borrow, it's free. Thank you. So we can get it. This is a story of some guy that he died and he went to the spiritual world, and he ends up in a city in the spiritual world. And they have the cities has all the institutions. They have their institutions. They have their laws. It's a working city. People work. People drink. People walk. People has transportation. They have everything. And it is a society that it's a little bit ahead of us in terms of socially speaking, because there's no people lacking anything, at least. Everybody's working where two things that are no one is lacking anything, and everything you gain is for your merit. You have to work to have some merit, then you can get something extra. But at least the basic stuff you're covered, like health and food. I don't know how works the food actually. They have some kind of food.
They have
some kind of food, yeah. Soup like, and but at least you don't see anyone like in really big trouble there, right? If you don't want to work, then you don't get the extra stuff like visit your family on Earth or something like that. So you have to work for that. And it's a very just society. I think we're gonna. That's the way we're gonna go. We're gonna start to work on this direction. Looks like there are a few maybe decades or centuries ahead of us, something like that. So based on this, we can think why we don't modify our education, created the moral education, in addition to the intellectual education. We have today the education. That's the idea from Kardec. We have today the intellectual education, right? We go to the school, we learn how to add, how to subtract. We do that. Moral education, I think. In old times there was more common. Now it's kind of over. I don't see a lot of it anymore. So that is something that Kardec says we should have it. More education. We should have that in the school as well. So the objective of a school, of the education, is to create better people. Better people is not intelligent people. We know that for a fact, right? I said that material we are good, moral we are bad. We need to get the moral up. So you need to give some more emphasis on the moral part too. Why not provide easier access to mental health, to cure our internal conflicts and insecurities? We saw that selfishness is caused in some ways for insecurities, problems not resolved when we were kids. So why we don't provide easy, affordable health care for everyone? That's going to solve so many problems. I think lots of shootings could be solved with this problem, right? If you do that. People have some mental problems. They do some bad stuff. Why we don't have health care justice that is fair and affordable? Why we don't get like? Why not everyone has the job that he wants to do and not the job that pays his bills? You can do that, right? You can vote for me next time. Okay, why we don't have like a society that's based on merits? Like we don't take care of place of birth. We don't care about place of birth, family, sex, color, age, wealth, but just merit of the person. Why we don't have that? We have to work. We are going to get there. A little bit more about more education. Kardec emphasized that our education has to produce good people, and just intellectual education is not enough. And he says, like a good educator, he knows the art of work the qualities of their students. As a gardener works with a small plant, a young plant, so the kind of he knows how to work them to get the better qualities, improve the better qualities, and get rid of the bad qualities of a kid. And he says, like, many people say, okay, but many kids, they are not going to learn moral, and that was a discussion he had. But he said, okay, some kids, they are not going to learn. That's true. They are like rebellious or something. They are not going to learn. This is true. But most of the kids, yes, they are going to learn. They just need someone that gives guidance, some small guidance, and most of the kids, they are going to learn moral and be very good people at the end. That's Kardec's talk.
Marcelo,
Yep.
do you think religion would be an option for the moral education? Like to help us to learn?
I think so. Yeah, I was raised in a Catholic school. It was really good. I learned a lot of good stuff. I never learned anything bad there. So I think so. If the parents believe that the school is a good option, why not? I think so. I think all the good religions are the serious religions. They are good. They are going to teach us the right things. Yeah. I think so. The Spiritism, we don't let me go. I should not talk about myself, right? The Spiritism, we always promote other religions. We say that other religions are good. There's no, as long as they are serious and they are good. Many people are different, and the different religions for different people. So I think it's as a Spiritism way, yes, it's a good thing.
So if you have, for example, something that we've been learning, we have heard a lot during our lives, is do to your next as to yourself. So do you think that would fit in one of the solutions for us to help us?
Yes.
To be less selfish?
Yes. Yes, that's the golden rule. Yes. Yes, if you know that, then we're gonna do. But if the person is selfish, he cannot understand this rule, right? Because he's just concerned about a person doesn't have value for him. Only things have value for him, and he's going to accumulate things, and he doesn't actually care about others. So he's going to have trouble. Of course, depends on how much selfish the person is, right? But he could have trouble with this rule, to follow this rule. So he has to work with the selfishness as well, same way. Psychologically speaking, now talk to more education. Now, know yourself. That's the last one. Psychologically speaking, we need to learn to know ourselves, to love ourselves, to become more mature psychologically. Know yourself. I think I have said this story about St. Augustine a dozen times already, and I'm going to tell again tonight. So there is in the Gospel according to Spiritism, there is a part that St. Augustine talks about know yourself. And he says, like, every night he would go to bed and he would start thinking about his day, how it was his day. And he would think about what he did that was good. He would think what he did that was not so good. What good he could have done but he didn't do. If someone had any reason to be mad at him, he did something wrong to someone. If someone complained about something he did, and if this person had reason for it, and he would just go over his day, and he thinks about if there was some event, one of these events, he would think about how he felt, and he would go inside of himself to figure out why he felt this. He would just go inside of himself to know himself better. And he told that when he did that every night, it was one life that he had a lot of progress, moral progress, because he did that for a long period of time. And we can do that. If you want to do that, we can do that every night. Just think about how was your day and how you felt in many situations. That's going to help you out to figure out the soup, because you're going to find some feelings that are not very good, like, oh my God, I acted this way because I felt envy, or I felt, you're going to start to do, I felt selfishness, I felt this, I felt that. So if you do that, just when you kind of know the way you react, and you start to transform yourself. You don't repeat the errors and the mistakes anymore. Another good thing is that you can pray for your guardian angel to help you out in this self-discovery. Thank you. So you can pray. He's going to help you out for sure. If you do it every night, you pray. He's going to help you out. I'm sure he will. But sometimes just that is not enough. Sometimes we need more. If we have some problems, conflicts, insecurities, or something like that, we should look for professional help. There is a lot of therapies available. So sometimes we have problems that we cannot solve ourselves. I think we are in the 21st century. We don't think now that people that go to therapy is because they're crazy. We are past that, thanks God. If you have any difficulty, any problem that you are having a hard time to solve in yourself, you have been dealing with that. I have anger issues. I don't know, any envy or something like that, any problem we have, that we have, it's been bothering you for a long time, you cannot solve it, look for therapy. You don't need to wait until you get depressed or you get something bad, really bad, to go to a therapist, right? You just go whenever you have some issue and go there, and then you're probably will never have a depression, never have something serious, because you are just dealing with small things and you are preventing the big things to happen later on. So João de Angelis talks a lot about therapy and things like that, that we should look at. That's really helpful. It's hard for us to take care of everything by ourselves. It's really hard. Sometimes we need help. Help is available, let's use it. So, just to finalize, every human being seeks happiness. This is only natural. That's why we work. We are working a lot, but we need to redirect our efforts. We are just working the material direction. We have to work a little bit on the moral direction. We have to stop and think and maybe change a little bit our route. Can you please give the next slide? That's a big one. Allan Kardec. He's kind of giving us a idea of what's going to happen. I see like this. The moment that we're going to stop and just change everything. I'm going to read it. Man desires to be happy, and this desire is natural, and prompts him to labor unceasingly to improve his condition upon the earth, and to seek out causes of the evils that afflict him in order to remove them. When he comprehends that selfishness is one of those causes, that it engenders the pride, ambition, cupidity, envy, hatred, jealousy, by which he is continually annoyed, that it brings trouble into all the social relations, provokes dissensions, thank you, destroys confidence, converts friends into foes, and obliges each individual to remain constantly on the defensive against his neighbor. He will see that this vice is incompatible not only with his own happiness, but even with his own security. And the more he has suffered from it, the more keenly will he feel the necessity of fighting against it, for he will be compelled to do so in view of his own interest. So that sums up a lot of what I was saying. So at some point we're just going to say enough is enough. So then we're going to say my happiness is in danger, my security is in danger. So I'm going to work hard now to change all of this. We're going to get rid of it as we get rid of some disease or something like that. That's what he's saying. The material side of our work is indeed a zero-sum game. But if you allow, the problem is when we allow the material side to be the most important part of our life, then our life too becomes a zero-sum game. But life is so much more. The material is important, but there is a lot more in life. There is love, for instance. If love is something that we give, and the more we give, the more we have. It's not a zero-sum game, it's a multiplier game. You just give it, you have more. Happiness, if you make someone happy, we are going to feel happy too. We are going to feel accomplished. We're going to have a purpose in life. Our self-esteem is better, our self-love is better, because we make someone happy. There is so much to it, so much things that we win. So we do something and we get the non-material things are so much better, because you give one, you get two, you get three. You give three, you get 9. It's just multiplier way. And if you are just looking into the material things, we are missing all that. We are missing so much in our lives. We can our life is so much richer if we can look at everything that is there. Let's use the material the way that it has to be done, but there is much more. We cannot miss that. There is a story of Chico Xavier. Chico Xavier he's a medium. It's kind of he's a medium that very good medium, very popular medium in Brazil. He had his mentor. He would be with him almost all the time, and he could talk to the mentor like we talk with an incarnate people, because he was really, he could see, he could hear, he could listen to the medium. So one day Chico was just walking with his mentor Emmanuel. They were going to some place, and Chico had a bad headache. He was late. And then there was a woman that she came like far away, and she started yelling at Chico, Chico. She wants to talk to you. I want to talk to you. And Chico was, oh my God, I cannot stop. I'm late. I have this headache. It's so bad. I'm not going to stop for her. And then his mentor Emmanuel said, no, give her a minute. Just stop a little bit. It's not gonna. You're late already, so it's one more minute. That's Brazilian way. One more minute is not going to make a difference. So he stopped because his mentor asked him to stop. And then the woman came, and she was very grateful for, I don't remember what was, something that Chico had done to her, and she was really grateful. And she had all this love to give, and she was grateful and talking and saying thank you for. And then Chico, he could see it, so there was a beam of light coming from her chest to him. It was just coming, all this love and gratefulness and everything. It was coming to him, and he felt that. And then she left, and his mentor asked him, so was it worth it? And Chico, yes, this minute was worth it. It was really good. My headache is gone. I'm energized for my day. I'm really good. So this really worked for me. So we cannot miss this kind of stuff. Really, if in life we're going to miss this, we're just going to go to the material side. We're going to miss all that. There's so much more that we can have. And can you please give the last one? So let's fight our selfishness. The Spirits teach us that we will win this fight. It depends only on us and anyone else. Let's not limit our lives to the material and the egocentric side that we all have, but let's open up to our better side, the spiritual side. Thank you, guys. Good night. Or good evening again. Thank you. Any questions?